Hello, AO. I think this is working. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Apparently, AO or Live does not work on Safari, FYI. So I had to switch to Google Chrome. I apologize. All right. So I only got a couple questions today. Thanks for letting me reschedule too, guys. I apologize for anybody that had the last meeting scheduled and missed me. The first one here is going from Mariel Goodrich, and they're asking, how do I know if I am charging appropriately for a new concept? They have a concierge mixology service for private and public events. They specialize in organic fresh fruit and herb cocktails and mocktails. They're a full service caterer for bars and events. They do the full graphic design on the menus based on the themes. They even mentioned they have custom engraving on their coconuts for the cocktails and are really taking it to the next level, it seems like. They're very different from everybody else that does direct pricing to consumers. Oh, wait, from everybody else that just shows up and pours drinks on whatever alcohol is supplied, they're more given the entire experience and service along with it. So it's a whole new thing. It sounds like isn't really available anywhere else. It says that they've come up with all their own recipes and kind of come up with everything from scratch. The issue here is that your prospects are getting sticker shock when you give them a proposal. My feedback from my experience and asking advice on similar topics in the past would be that if you're getting sticker shock from your clients, A, you're not providing proper education on what you're offering them prior to giving them the proposal, or maybe you're approaching the wrong clients, or a mix of both. I find that if a client is well educated on what they're going after or who they're talking to, then usually they won't have as much of a sticker shock as they would if they weren't really sure what you were offering. They just maybe they were looking for bar service but didn't realize how much special these were or something like that. Something to compare that to would be like if I'm shopping for a hotel room and I'm booking at the Chris Carlson, the way they present themselves, the way they brand it, the way that everything happens on my whole experience up until the point that I get the price from them leads me to believe that I'm expecting to have a high-end hotel room, a high-end price point, and doesn't really come with a sticker shock, even though it's expensive. Versus like if I went to a Holiday Inn and they try to charge me $600 for a room, I would have total sticker shock. Versus the same $600 room presented in a different way didn't give me sticker shock. So that presentation, that client education, it's going to be huge. And depending on how these invoices are, I would make sure they're well detailed and they make it obvious that it's organic, fresh fruit, that, these are all original recipes, that, all of these things that make you above and beyond the other services, make sure they're highlighted in there as well. But the main thing is that client education. I think that your service is probably way above and beyond from what they even thought it was, and making sure that that's portrayed from the beginning so that they're expecting that higher end elite price point that you're offering. All right, hopefully that helps. Reach out privately if you want to chat any farther about it. The next one is from Tatiana. Tatiana is asking, what are some ways that I can reward my employees to keep them motivated and excited in a quick service type restaurant? Let's see. So quick service type restaurant and keep them excited and motivated. Think for 1 second here. So you don't want to create like a cutthroat competition, which I think you mentioned that you said, you were thinking to start a chart to keep track of their sales to get them excited, but you don't want to make cutthroat competition. I want the team to work well together and feel appreciated. So definitely have some kind of meeting or gathering to launch this and make sure you portray that image and you explain the purpose of this. And it's not to create competition, but to motivate people to thrive harder and then reward those that do. And then I would find a way to track this that doesn't encourage, that tension and competition. So if you were just going to say, I'll reward whoever makes the most amount of sales, and you have employees that work more than others, and some are going to feel like this is unfair. And well, Bobby works 3 days a week. I only work 1 day a week, so he's clearly going to have more sales. It's an unfair thing. So making sure they iron out all those details so that doesn't happen. In my business, I have retail stores, but we've done similar things, and a lot of times ends up being something along the lines of like tracking the average transaction value for each employee. So encouraging them to upsell, to try to add on things to every sale. and then you reward whoever has the highest transaction average value. So it doesn't matter if they worked 1 day that week or 10 days that week, whatever the average total of each transaction, that's how we reward. Or a lot of times in the past, we've also taken all the employees' total hours on payroll versus how much sales they've made, and then we get the per hour average. So how much are they selling per hour? And then we reward our employees that sell more per hour versus others. And this is just our ways of trying to find methods of creating that motivation, encouraging them, rewarding them, and not creating that competition where, like, if you have two employees working and there's only one client there and they're going to be fighting over that client, and that's going to create a bad experience for the client, if that even applies in your business style. But that's what I would do, is just try to find a way to passively make it so you can't really get favored in any way, and it's really the hardest worker that's going to get the reward. Another way too to do it, and I've seen this done. I haven't done this, but also you can create something where the employees themselves at the end can vote for who they think was the most helpful coworker, who went above and beyond the most, or who helped them the most, without being able to vote for themselves. And then that encourages the coworkers to help each other, be nice to each other, be helpful to each other, because those are the people that are going to have to vote for them to get the bonus. And if they're not helpful to their team, well, it's not going to support them later. So that's another idea. Again, feel free to reach out to me on the side. This could be an hour conversation of just shooting back and forth everything that I've ever tried and other people have tried and how it's worked out for them and how could that apply for your business model. But those are some general ideas there. Let's see. Next person, we got Martina. And Martina's asking, how do I motivate myself and my coworkers not to give up in the beginning of business? I am very familiar with this. I have been running a startup, for a couple of years now, and it's been, crazy growth and very stressful for everybody. And I've learned a lot along the way. It was more stressful for everybody at the beginning because I didn't really understand how to do what you're asking. And I'm still learning every day, but I've gotten a lot of advice on this. And the main thing is having your employees be in on things. That is like so much more important than anybody ever realizes. Make sure that they're continuously updated on whatever is in your head, where the company's headed, or where the ship is going, what's going on. Make sure they have that sense of feeling in on the company. And along that journey of telling them this and keeping them in, you explain to them, what we're doing right now, why we're doing this right now, what can we expect to go through over the next few months, year, half a year, however long this is expected to take, and what can we expect to see at the finish line once we get through this startup mode, and once we're past that initial growth and things settle down and we have better systems and processes, maybe a bigger team. What does that look like? And how does that and then how does all this hard work leading to that finish line, what kind of rewards are we going to see? What kind of benefits will it be? Like, if you work really hard with me right now for 6 months at average pay, maybe when we get the finish line, we'll give you above average pay. And but pulling through this next 6 months will guarantee that for you, versus if you don't put work now and you bail on us or half-ass it, or run away because it's too much, then that reward won't be there. So them really understand that this is temporary, that you are in startup mode, that it's a new company, and they get to be part of this. So it's an exciting opportunity for them. It's like, yes, it's hard work. Yes, it's going to be stressful. Yes, you're going to lose your mind here and there, or whatever might be happening. But it's all for a reason. It's all temporary, and there's a reward at the end. And you being here now with me will set you up in a better position than had you walked in once we had built this and we did all the hard work. So kind of instilling that into the team, and they're the founders with you. They're the ones building it from the ground up, and therefore, if they pull through, they will be the ones to get the most reward alongside of you. And then they feel kind of like the pioneers of the brand, and you can do motivational speeches like, one day when we are $1 billion company and have thousands of employees, we'll be able to we can sit at the boardroom and and talk about these days when it was just the three of us in a garage trying to start this thing up, and how stressful it was, and this and that. But we pulled through, and we made it through all the benchmarks we had in our schedule, or in our plan, and now we're here. And thank God for pulling through, and thank you for doing it. But making that obvious in the beginning, so they realize that there is an end to the stress, and there is an end to the chaos, and there's a reward to doing this and staying by your side and working through it. But that's probably my biggest advice. And then for yourself, so you asked also how to motivate yourself. So same similar thing, but yourself is just going to be way better at the finish line. So your employees might get a raise, they might get a cut of profits, or they might get some kind of bonus. But you're going to have an entire company that you own that's going to be profitable, and it's going to be on autopilot, hopefully, and self-sufficient, and with a good team of motivated employees that know what they're doing. So that's your reward at the finish line. That's what you need to look at, and that's what's going to help you get up early and work harder and get more hours in, and put up with all the things that nobody else wants to put up with. Um, it's your baby, and in the end, you're going to benefit from having that baby versus everybody else that just took care of it for you. And they'll have benefits, but you'll have the ultimate. Okay, next one. We got, oh wait, was that it? No, sorry guys. We got two more questions. Tatiana has another question here. I have an employee who left to go to work for another restaurant and just messaged me to let me know that didn't work out and if she could have her job back with us. What should I do? This person has a smoothie and juice bowl bar. They've been having issues with employees lately, mainly having due to their senior year. So these are mostly college students, it sounds like, or high school students. Their senior year being over and then wanting to go have fun for the summertime. A few who graduated college and now pursuing their careers. Lately, some high school students are leaving to go to summer temporary jobs that pay cash. Or in this case, the employee left to go work for a restaurant owned by a family member who, in order to receive more tips. They had a conversation with this employee, letting her know that they appreciated her and if there's anything else they could do to try to accommodate. She said that she loved her job but just wanted to get cash tips, so she left, and now here they are 2 weeks later, where the employee's texting trying to come back, and they replied that they weren't going to talk. They're talking next week, potentially this week, and how would you handle this? So I've had this similar thing also happen, and your first instinct, or my first instinct, was always being like, well, forget that. You bailed on me. You didn't give me 2 weeks notice. You didn't care at all when you left the business. You just jumped ship, without second thoughts. Like, why would I even take you back? Why would I do anything for you at all? And that's my first how I would have reacted, to this a couple of years ago. I've since learned that, everyone's human. Everybody wants what they think is best for themselves. And sometimes that's not done in the most professional way. And younger people, especially non-business owners also, but especially young non-business owners, are just going to be ignorant, for lack of a better word, in this field, and maybe they don't even realize what they're really doing, and they're just thinking, I'm 19 years old, I just got done with school, and this guy's offering me a better pay. Like, I know I'm supposed to give you 2 weeks, but I'm sorry, I can't. They want to start me next week. I'm going over there, and they don't even think much farther than that. That's it, and it's not a huge deal. So I would, depending on this employee, obviously, but if this is a good employee that was good in your business when they were there and you could use them back and you could benefit from having them back, I would have a serious talk with them, explain to them, how immature and unprofessional them leaving was with no notice, how that put you in a big bind and made it complicated and difficult for you. And normally you'd never take somebody back if they put you in that kind of situation. But because they were an exceptional employee and they were really good, if we can come to some terms that this was unacceptable and will not be tolerated in the future, and you're willing to work hard and potentially even be on a little bit of a short leash since you are coming back on these types of terms, then we'll take you back. And then you hold them accountable to that. So if you take them back and you have that talk with them, then they're going to be above and beyond the best employee you have on staff, because that's what they're going to have to do to be taken back after they bail on you without any notice. But you can still take them back, and then you get the benefit of having that employee back. You can just get a little humbled, take them back, even though maybe you didn't want to. They'll appreciate it. If they're a decent human being, they will truly appreciate it, and they'll won't abuse that next time. And you'll be on a higher ranking of how much they like their job and how much they respect their employer, and potentially what they might do for you in the future. That's how I would approach it. Now, there's going to be a lot of mixed feedback on that. I'm sure there's plenty of people that say that employee, once they show you their true colors, or once they do that, maybe you shouldn't trust them to do that, not do that in the future. But with with younger staff, because I have a lot of college students that work for me as well, you just can't expect them to think like you think or how they should think. And you can expect them to make dumb mistakes along the way at some point or another in life, whether that has to do with your business or not. and you can expect them not to really do all of those consciously all the time. And that's just the truth of young people. So with that being said, if it would help the business to give them a second chance, essentially, I would give them a second chance with a serious talk, and then put on a short leash, and then held accountable to whatever that talk and short leash entitles. And then don't hesitate to let them go on this spot if that doesn't play out as it should. Because if you don't do that, then that will send a message to the team that anybody can quit, they'll be taken right back, and you can kind of do whatever you want, and it's easy to keep this job or get it back at any time. So you don't want to also put that message out throughout the team. I hope that helps. Reach out if you want to chat about it some more. I can also, share more experiences of how it's played out for me in the past. All right, and then last question is from Martina, and Martina's asking, how do I get stronger in motivating myself? She runs a home healthcare business in Switzerland. She's a nurse by trade. Doctors and hospitals refer patients to her, and she bills the insurance companies for the service they provide. Sometimes she feels like she loses motivation and direction. How do I stay on track and keep me motivated and moving forward? So that is an art in itself, and I don't think anybody's mastered it, and you're probably going to get a lot of feedback from different people to see what everyone says, but I have my own tricks, and everybody has their own tricks, and I'll share them with you. And I'm still trying to get better at that myself. I think we all, could use improvement on that field at some point or another. One small thing that I did that helped a lot, I'll share with you right now, is I bought this journal. This is called the 5-Second Journal. Diana, that is in AO as well. She has an elite laser spa business. She mentioned that in a forum that I had with her, and I went and bought it, and I bought it for all my managers, and it really helped just kind of get everybody on track and help me just kind of focus. It forces you to think about what like your important thing for the day is, what your goals are, what the main things are, and what's all the other stuff that's just noise, and how to not lose track of the main things with all the noise that happens every day. So that's one small step. Something else I do, so that's on a daily or weekly level. On like a monthly level, I have a spreadsheet that I do for myself on a weekly basis. I have a coach, Dan Abate, that set me up originally with this, and kind of was to kind of force it on me, and now I've just carried on to it, and I use it with all my managers as well. And when I have weekly meetings with my managers, or even with myself, I put on there everything that's important for the week that I need to do that week. I have a column for who it needs to be delegated to, a column whether it's like urgent or not urgent, and how important it is. And there'll be things on here that like, we need to do this, in the next 60 days to be better positioned to take the next step with this thing. And maybe that task doesn't make a difference in today, day to day, but it's huge if we finish it in time to take this leap in 60 days that we want to take. But then there's all these other issues, like we fired this guy and we got to hire a replacement because the store won't open in 4 days if we don't have a sales floor employee for the store to work. So you get all these things, and then you organize them, and then you don't lose track of like the 60-day goal to take this big massive leap because you got thrown with this fire of a new employee. And but they're all equally important, one urgent, one not urgent, but both very important. So I have those spreadsheets, and I just keep track through the week, and I start putting like 50% done, 10% done, 100% done between each one as I work through them. And I put who it needs to be delegated to. So I try to delegate everything I possibly can. If you have anybody you can delegate to, but at least just keep track of all your goals that are important, whether on short term or long term. And then once a week you get on there, you go to the spreadsheet, you look at the goals, you adjust if necessary. You might find that one isn't as important as you thought, or isn't urgent like you thought it was, or you might find that something's come up that you forgot about. So anyways, you continuously adjust on a weekly basis, and you make sure you stay on track on what matters, and whether it's urgent or not urgent. And I guess the other thing that's helped me, which is a small thing that I stole from JT, which is another coach in AO, he does the leadership retreats. It was a really simple thing, but it was like this piece of paper, and you make like an X through it, and you have 4 quadrants, and you have like important and urgent, important and not urgent, not important and urgent, not important but urgent, and not important and not urgent. And everything should fall into one of those categories. And then that also really helped me realize what to focus on. So you want to, and so according to what people are telling me and what JT mentioned, is you want to spend like more than half of your time on the important and not urgent stuff, and spend like a little less than half of your time on the important urgent stuff. And most people will spend all their time on the important urgent stuff, and then you have 2 weeks go by and you're overwhelmed and you're stressed and you feel like nothing got done because you were just doing what everything got thrown at you. So when you keep track of like the important, not urgent, that actually makes big steps, looping back to your original question, that gives me the most motivation for myself, because then I really see the progress happening. Even though I am stressed out and I'm working all day, I make sure that I don't only work on the things that keep the business going, but I also work on the things that take the big leaps for the business. And then when I get those things done, and then I see the results, motivates me to just to work harder and, bury myself back in the day to day and keep grinding, because as long as I organize my time and I prioritize the right tasks, even if I'm overwhelmed or I'm stressed out, it's making progress. And there is a finish line and there is a goal and you're working towards something. And then when you see those little rewards along the way, that to me it's the most motivation, and it makes me stronger to be more motivated to keep doing that, if that makes sense. Um, Again, with all the other answers, just reach out if you want privately. We can have a conversation about this. I'm not a motivator or anything like that in any means, but I've struggled with motivation myself in the past few years. And I feel like today I'm way more motivated than I was 2 years ago. So I've done something and I can share more of that with you. All right, that's all the questions. I hope it was beneficial for somebody. I look forward to the next one. Thanks, everybody, and reach out if I can be of any more assistance.